Students, in this video, I'm going to cover the sine graph and the cosine graph, the properties and how they look. Okay. Now, for that, what we have is uh, for you need to understand the sine and cosine graph for a complete cycle of 360 degrees. We know that a complete cycle is 360 degrees. So we will see how the sine and cosine graphs look like as we start from 0 degree to 360 degree. For that, I am drawing my x-axis where I'll be taking the angles and the y-axis where I'll be getting the answers, sign of that value. Okay, so I have along the x-axis the angles and along the y-axis I have put 1 and -1. You will understand why it is like this. Now, if you have your calculator in hand, you go on checking what is the value of sine 0. Sine 0 value will be equal to 0. Okay, I am marking it here 0. Then move on to sine 90. These are all standard intervals that we are checking mainly to understand how the shape will look like. Now check sine 90 degrees. Sine 90 degrees, you will see that the answer is 1. Okay, it is 1. Then moving on to sine 180 degrees. Sine 180 degrees, again it is 0. Anyway, you'll have your calculator in hand, you can always check. Sine 270 degree, you can check, the answer will be -1. Okay, and again sine 360 degree, if you see, it will give you as 0. Okay, after this, again if you go on adding 90 degrees and proceed further, you will see the same pattern. Now, how does this graph look like? This graph will look something like this. It's a smooth curve from 0 to 1, comes down to again 0 at 180, comes down to -1, and again goes up to 360. This is how a sine theta graph look like. Okay, sine theta, sine theta, where theta is taking all these angles. Okay, so what is the property that you are observing? That the maximum that a sine can take is 1 only when it is sine theta. Okay, and the minimum that a sine theta can take is -1. So we say that the range of sine theta is from -1 to +1, -1 to +1. Okay, only for sine theta. Now I'll just tell you, if I have say 2 sine theta, then going by the rule of transformations, the range will become from -2 to +2. Now I'm just ignoring that 2 here. Okay, you need to understand this is how a sine graph looks like. It is like a inverted and sleeping S. Okay, and the same pattern will continue every 360 degrees, whether you are going to the right side or whether you are coming to the left side. Okay, imagine the same graph like this, okay, and similarly on the other side it will be going out of the screen. So this is something that you need to remember. What are the two things? The period of a sine theta, period. What is period? Period is the angle or the degrees duration after which the cycle repeats itself. So sine theta makes one complete curve in 360 degrees. So it is called its period, and its range is from -1 to +1. That means the minimum is -1, maximum is +1. Okay. Now let's see how the cos graph looks like, cosine or cos graph. It will look something like, if you put cos 0, you will see that the answer will come as 1. Cos 0 is actually 1. Cos 90 degree will give you 0. Cos 180 degree will give you -1. Cos 270 will again give you 0. And cos 360 will give you again 1. Okay, so if I'm trying to draw curve, it will look something like this. It takes like, no, in between also, if I'm taking 45 degrees and then between 90 and 180, 145 and all, it's observed that it's not a straight line, it's a curve. It comes like this, smooth V. It's a smooth V. Okay, like this. Hope it is clear. So for sine, it is like an S, and for cosine or cos, it is like a V. Okay, but once again, what are the two things that are common to both sine and cos? The period and the range. The period for cos is also 360 degree, and the range for the cos is also from -1 to +1. Okay, let me again write it down. Period is again 360 degree, and range is from -1 to +1. Okay, but what is the difference? The -1 and +1 occur at different angles. So whenever they ask you to draw a sketch sine theta graph or cos theta graph, anyway you'll have your calculator, but it's always good to know these properties, because I will be explaining how this range and this 360 degree will be used for transformations with the sine and cos graph. Okay, so when it is only sine theta or only cos theta, then my period is 360 degree and my range is from -1 to +1. Hope this much is clear. I am stopping this video here itself.